Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about coils and how to make different types of coils. So the first thing that's the most important part about coil making is understanding how to actually roll a coil. So the first thing that we want to do is always make sure that we start with fresh clay. So what I have here is just a hunk of fresh clay, pulled it right out of the bag. And one thing that I like to do, so when we roll a coil, we're basically rolling a long tube of clay that's maybe about a foot to almost 2 feet long, I would say almost 2 feet. So you want to start with just a nugget of clay, about yay big. And what I like to do is kind of squeeze it into a tube form to start. You can even kind of roll it in your hands a little bit to get it rounded, get it ready to go. Now when we roll this coil, the first thing that's the most important thing is understanding that we need to always have downward pressure. Okay, we want to be pushing down on the clay and rolling back and forth. Okay, so I'm going to push down and I'm going to roll back and forth, palm to fingertip. Okay, and now when it gets too long, I can use two hands, palm to fingertip. Okay, and then I'm going to now move side to side to elongate it. So now I'm moving my hand back and forth to elongate that coil. Okay, downward pressure and all the way across. Now we're looking for the thickness of about our index finger, maybe a little thicker. Okay, I would say index finger thickness is good. Okay, now move side to side. Okay, we want perfectly rounded coils. Okay, so if we look at this, if I come in and cut this, I got a nice rounded coil. Now some of the issues that you might have, okay, let's talk through some of the issues when rolling coils. Okay, one of the issues that I always see happen is we get what we call a flip-flop. So when we're hand rolling coils, we get coils that are more rectangular than they are round. Well, what happens there? We do this back to forth motion and we're only rolling with our palms. And then you get this wide on one side and thin on the other kind of coil. Okay? So the first problem that you might run into is you're getting rectangular coils, not round coils. The reason for the rectangular coil, again, is when we're pushing, you're only rolling with your palm, not your fingers, and you're not doing a full range of motion. Again, remember downward pressure, fingertips to palm, all the way through, nice and kind of quick. And that will give you a nice rounded coil. So problem one is rectangular coils. Okay? The second problem that you might run into is getting uneven coils, which means they're thin on one side but thick on the other. Now when we roll these coils, again when we're making it longer, we move side to side. So I move to the left and I move back to the right. Well, if you're rolling in one spot and not moving laterally, you're going to get what we call a thin middle. See how it's starting to flip? And now it's thinner in one spot, but thicker on the outsides. Okay? I didn't move my hands side to side. Whereas this one, I'm moving across the clay, palm to fingertips. Okay, palm to fingertips. Now the last thing that we might run into is we notice that the clay is splitting or it's cracking. Okay, so I might be rolling this and we might notice that it's starting to crack and we're starting to get some splits in the clay. The biggest thing is to always make sure we're kind of keeping our clay in a wet state. So I like to give it a spray and then roll it side to side, back and forth, full range of motion. If you're getting air pockets in the clay, like if you look at this, ready? I got an air pocket there. That's because you didn't mash the clay back together tight enough. Okay, so again, what I like to do so I'm going to take a hunk of clay the size of, I would say, kind of like the size of a Snickers bar. Something like this. Okay? And I really like to kind of roll it in my hands to get it kind of round to start. Okay? And then I'm going to go palm to fingertip. Palm to fingertip, downward pressure, and side to side. Okay. So once we have our coils made, we can really make some really interesting stuff. So the first lesson today is how to roll a coil. So your assignment for today is to go on and to roll 3 perfect coils that are a foot long, that are all the same thickness, and I'll roll my third one here for you. Might need some more clay. So 3 perfect coils that are all index finger thick, about a foot long, and even all the way across. So I'm pressing down and I'm working side to side. Look for thin areas, look for thick areas. And voila. I have 3 perfect coils that are a foot long, that are index finger thick, and that are completely round all the way around the coil. Okay? So your 3 criteria: foot long, even thickness across, and completely round. All right? So that's your assignment. Have fun with it. Good luck, and we will see you shortly.